So I was a very adventurous girl. I loved to run away and explore things. I remember that once my mother and me, we were on holidays, and there was some kind of cave, and she was visiting the cave, you know, like with a tour, and I was like, oh, I don't want to go to this cave, so I just wait outside, and she was like, okay. I don't know, I was maybe like 10 or something, and then she got out of the cave and I was not there anymore. She was like, oh, as a mother in a foreign country, oh my god, where is my baby girl? And then like 5 minutes later, I was riding on a horse with a man behind me, like the queen. I was like, hi mom! And she was like, oh my god! You know, and things like that happened all the time. Okay. Like, I was fearless. I think this is the word that best describes me. That I just love to explore and just curiously and openly just approach people and places.
Mm-hmm. And you find yourself in Buenos Aires. It's like the good city to improve and to feel all this energy thing that are so connected to your soul. You feel that in Buenos Aires? I feel totally yourself?
I feel Buenos Aires is like so abundant, and you know, has this vibe, you know, this kind of energy that like sucks you in, and you're like, wow, and always things are happening, and milongas and friends, and so it's a beautiful place to get lost in.
Mm-hmm. What are your fears? Before meeting Biodanza and create Biotango, what were your fears? You say I was fearless, but as a child, as a woman, as an adult, did you have some fears? And now sometimes with, you know, the milonga or the lessons, how do you deal with fears?
I need to think about that question.
Take your time.
I don't feel fear, really.
Never.
I feel very, very trusting.
Okay.
It's like, even with the pandemic, you know, where we started to feel so insecure, you know, and destiny just like ripped off like the floor, and we're just like in free fall. I really have trust in life, and trust that the things that are supposed to happen will happen. I trust a lot in myself, in my intuition, in my immune system. I feel very guided by my intuition, like the way how I feel other people's energy. I feel like I'm always like meeting the right people, coming to the right places in the right moment, going with this flow.
Like synchronicities?
Yeah, like synchronicity.
But it was always like that? Or the practice of Biodanza connected even more with this intuition?
For sure, yeah. Biodanza is an invitation to connect with yourself, and it's not always like dance, like dynamic and energetic, but there are also a lot of parts in Biodanza where we calm, where we relax, where we close the eyes, where we, you know, we put our hands on our heart, and, you know, like really take a time to listen what is there. And it's a practice.
Okay. So perhaps not a lot of fear, but if sometimes there is one, like Biodanza could really connect to the intuition and help you to overcome the fears if they happen.
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe there is the fear that I have to not have enough time. I'm very active. And also sometimes stressed, and I'm like, no llego a hacer eso, no lo puedo terminar, que estresante, and it's like a personal issue I would like to work on more, to be more relaxed, and like, no, there is enough time.
Okay. that's a good way to practice it, to find like harmony between this impression of stress and the other thing. Okay.
And also to say about trust also has a lot to do with the relationship with the parents.
Yeah.
And I am very, very grateful to have two parents I can count on who got my back. I know if I don't have enough money to support myself, I have my parents, they will be there for me. So it's something that many people don't have, and living like this. So I think this is also creating a huge difference in my life.
Okay. What are your inspirations? Like philosophy, books, people, practice. I know about biodanza, but other thing which could inspire you.
So I am a huge fan of dreams. So symbols and archetypes. I love Carl Gustav Jung. Symbols and these ancient stories, the collective subconscious, and one of my very, very favorite hobbies is a dream group. I have a dream group in Austria. Now we meet on Zoom, and we meet once in a while to talk about the dreams that we had, and we analyze them, we look at them, we see what they are bringing to us. And for me, it's like a very, very fine intellectual, psychological process that is really unfolding a very rich knowledge about life. And for me, this is like a source of inspiration also for the dance.
Yeah.
And to get to know myself.
Interesting.
And then there are some people I follow, like Brené Brown. She's a researcher, storyteller in a social field, and talking a lot about vulnerability and leadership and authenticity and what a human being is and how we function. I feel this also very connected to my world.
As a link between that and Biotango, we are talking a lot in this moment about burnout and crisis. What is your perspective, your lecture about this crisis that a lot of people are like totally, they are living that a lot? What do you think, or what for you are the causes of a burnout? Why so many people are really like improving that? And do you think Biotango could be like, a door to find yourself, so feel better after a burnout? What do you think about this topic?
I think the world of work is really going crazy and is not seeing the human being just like a human being, but like a robot, like a machine. Just when you start to work, the expectations are so high, like all the things that you need to accomplish in one day, you cannot even finish it. So you work more hours in the office, you start to work on the weekend. Also all the people who are self-employed, they're just, working. Like me, this weekend I did not have much weekend. But also like I'm responsible for that. But there's like people are workaholics. It's like enfermedad, like a sickness of our time, that really like it's never enough. Maybe also because the capitalistic world is teaching us we are someone if we earn a lot of money and we have accumulate the house and the car and beautiful things. But then, is it really worth all of that if we just live like this all the time? And we forget about the value of time and the value of being with the people we love. And for me, the craziest thing is technology. Like how we are really trimmed to be on the phone all the time, to always be available, to see the new postings and what is everybody doing. And then you see, like once a week, the iPhone shows you your average screen time per day was like 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 hours, I don't know. Like, how do I even take this time? I mean, it's lifetime.
Mm-hmm.
And for this reason, I call the phone like coma tiempo, like time eater. And it's the reason why I follow 0 persons on Instagram, because I don't want to get distracted. I want to choose with my intention, where do I put my focus, where do I put my time. And I always prefer like physical contact, meeting the people I love. And for me, Instagram and Facebook and YouTube, we are on YouTube, is only for taking the people off the screen into the real physical contact, sitting on the couch together, you know. This is why I'm doing this. And the stress, you know, I need to be up to date. And for me, this is also the reason why I want to work with enterprises in this context, to make people understand we are not machines, we are human beings, we need to rest. And if we rest, also we work better, we are more motivated, we are more creative.
And if we put limits, because we learned that in Biotango, we can find our own rhythm and so not be like robots. It's very interesting because I'm always talking during the interview about dehumanization. What is the cause of dehumanization? And I'm always talking with people who find a way to create rehumanization, like authenticity, and Biotango, it's exactly that. Wow. So that's great too.
Congratulations! what an amazing topic! It's so necessary to talk about that. Yeah. And I also want to mention, you know, the pandemic. Everybody worked online.
Yeah.
And then what happens when you work online? We meet on Zoom. We open the Zoom. Okay, today we have to have the solution of this problem. So we start, and all the coffee breaks, all arriving to the office, saying, how are you feeling today? How was your weekend? You know, these little things, they just got lost. There was no space for that.
Exactly.
This is dehumanization as well.
Exactly. That's why it's so important to contact again.
And to come back to the body, come away from the screen and come to your fucking body, please.
And dance is an amazing way to find that again.
Yeah.
That's so important.
Dance, caressing, eating together, having sex, you know.
Yeah.
Everything that's with the body, just do it.
And we find ourselves, because we are in relation with the ecosystem. So that's a way to find ourselves and to understand the others, and it's so powerful for all the system to be connected. It's in this way. So that's great. I'm looking for my last questions. You were talking about your parents, but what about friends? How did they react when you choose the path of Biotango?
How did they react?
Or, you know, perhaps people from the past, or your relatives, but what was like the expectation or the reaction? My real question is
The real question is okay, give it to me.
Is did some people did they try to put you in boxes? And with Biotango, you said no, sorry, I can't be in this box. I will be myself. That's my real question.
Okay, cool. Thank you for being clear. So one situation pops up in my mind. So for a while I collaborated with Biotango, with a professional tango dancer who even made it to the semi-final of the Tango World Championship. Okay. So we were in an investigation process together, and then the moment arrived where I've arranged a professional tango photo shooting with him, and then in the last moment he backed off. So he was like, I don't feel like I'm doing that because I don't really want to be associated with Biotango, because I am afraid to be criticized. The real reason was that, in tango some people are very rigid, and there's a traditional tango and the form, and it has to be like that, and he was very afraid of the judgment of these traditional people, that he was just afraid to put his face related to Biotango. Wow. And I was like, wow. I can also understand it, fear is something I can relate to, and I was like, okay. And it was difficult because I had to find another dancer like at 11 p.m. in the night for the next morning, and hopefully, thank God I found one, so I can understand this fear. And I think people who are innovative will always be criticized, as much as from tango as from biodanza. For sure there will be people, say what you do is really weird, that's not making any sense, As an example, in biodanza we have walking is one of the basic things. When we start a class, we form a circle, we have like a circle dance, and then the second thing we usually do in a vivencia is we walk, with music, with happiness, with lightness, with determination. So the walk has different intentions, and just as in life, we walk forward. We walk with focus. We move from the past to the future naturally. In tango, we are two people. One person is walking forward and the other one is walking back. Because we are, in order to form a couple, this is just necessary. And for instance, in my class on Entre Minas Festival, I was talking about how we relate in tango and how sometimes people try to control. But the beauty of tango is really that the other person can relate as they want to relate. So we practiced that in the walk. One person was walking to the front, and the other person could choose: do I walk beside? Do I walk behind, or do I walk in front of the person but backwards? And there will be people in biodanza say, walking backwards, no, but this is very contrary. Biodanza is not possible. But it's not biodanza, it's biotango. So there needs to be an openness for this kind of creation, and there will always be people who are not open for it, who are like the traditional thing, the original thing, that's the thing, and that's it, and it's like sacred, and it's like it cannot be touched and it cannot be modified, and I also respect that, and that's okay. But it's not like I'm disrespecting it, I'm respecting it and creating my new proposal, and I don't need everybody to like it. I need to stand for it, I need to love what I do, and there will be people who understand me, who get me, and who say, yeah, I want to explore this with Valerie.
Yeah, it's exactly about exploration and freedom to co-create something perhaps different, but linked to the values.
We were talking about this in my dream group. This is why they're so inspiring. So we were talking about the relationship between Sigmund Freud from Austria and his pupil Carl Gustav Jung. Yeah. And at a certain point Jung said, I learned a lot from you, but I also think this and that, and was thinking in a different way. And Freud got really offended, and he was cutting the contact with Jung While Jung wanted to keep the dialogue, he said, I value what you do, but I see things differently. I keep on continuing with my own investigation, and he wanted to keep the dialogue, but Freud was cutting it.
Yeah. And it's like with Biotango, you are opening a lot of different doors, and if people feel like connected to another way, it's possible to open all these doors. That's good. Great. With Jung, it's a beautiful link with my last question. I don't know exactly if I can ask this question in English because normally, it's a word in French. My podcast named Carnet alvéole. And alvéole, the translation, it's like beehive. Do you see what I mean? Symbolically, the bees, when they are working, they
you're cutie.
There is in the house all this little this figure like that. Okay.
Yeah.
And the name in French it's alvéole, and that's the name of the podcast because I think I have the impression in this figure there is a lot of symbolic thing like in dreams. So I would like to know this face for you. What could be the symbols or the link that you could make? When I'm talking about this thing, what are the
association?
Exactly.
I have it right away.
Amazing.
So this alveole, is like one cell, like one tiny little part, which is perfect, on its own creation, and also it's part of a bigger thing. There are many different ones linked to each other, and it's just like the cells of the body. Each cell in its own is like its own system. It's organic. But the whole richness of being a human or being an animal or whatever kind of organism is like they are all together, they're all in communication, and each cell has like its own purpose. And this is again linked to biodanza because in biodanza we are also operating, on the line of transcendence. We feel very much how we are just a tiny little part of a huge cosmos, with the whole world, with the nature, with the animals, the plants, and the whole universe. And we're like a tiny little part of something which is like way bigger than us. We don't even know, we don't even understand. And to feel as a part of something bigger, and also to feel at service, to be in communication, to be in empathy, to be humble, and to see what can I give from my side. And when I give from my tiny little side, I receive from the whole universe.
I so agree. Thank you so much, Valerie, for the sharing, for everything. Thank you.
Thank you.